Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello and welcome to The Print. At this point, we're in the state of Telangana, where we'll be bringing you the latest from this part of the country regarding the COVID crisis. And with me today is a very special guest, a four-time Member of Parliament from the Hyderabad constituency, Saduddin Owaisi, who of course is also the President of the MIM. So thank you so much for speaking to us. And of course, just to clarify, he said he's not wearing the mask because we're at his residence. Of course, otherwise we've been following all social distancing measures. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Firstly, of course, since we're speaking just a day after Eid, and we arrived here yesterday, and I saw that it was a very quiet Eid in Hyderabad, which is usually filled with a lot of activity. So could you tell us about that just to begin with?
Yeah, this Ramzan has been a very, very different Ramzan. I have never seen such a Ramzan in my life. But anyway, it was good. It was good in a way because we could pray in our homes with our family and children. The Eid was also very quiet because usually on Eid day people go to Eidgahs and there's a lot of people exchanging pleasantries, meeting everyone. But it was very quiet Eid. But anyway, this is a time for introspection, contemplation. So in a way, every religious place has been closed. The whole country is in lockdown. So we cannot complain much.
Right. And as you mentioned, of course, while religious gatherings continue to be banned, sir, a lot of economic activity has been allowed now. There have been relaxations, and in fact, the roads outside seem to be crowded. So how do you think is the fourth phase of the lockdown turning up, and do you support the lockdown? You know, the Telangana government has been supportive so far, but you've been quite vocal about your views otherwise.
I am of the opinion that this lockdown legally is unconstitutional because the government of India has no legal standing to order a lockdown on the basis of NDMA Act and the Epidemic Act. And secondly, law and order is a state subject. The government of India cannot sit in Delhi and impose or issue a farman that state should be closed, that should be closed, that should not be closed. So I have been consistently saying that this lockdown legally is unconstitutional. It was unplanned. It was imposed by the Prime Minister in an unplanned and a hasty way without he applying his mind. And I'm sure had the Prime Minister consulted, which is not his DNA consultation, no one would have given the proposal that to immediately impose a lockdown. So lockdown has caused huge economic hardship to the poor people. Now we are seeing how migrant laborers are suffering. More than 140 have died. They're still dying, still suffering. So lockdown, and in a country like India, you without giving people at least 8 to 10 days time, without they making arrangements for their health needs, without bringing back their children or their relatives, even with not giving time to people who do businesses to ensure that they make some arrangement. So this has been imposed. So now we are seeing people suffering and it's causing huge economic hardship and loss to everyone.
And you also mentioned earlier that perhaps it's not a concept that a country like India can adapt. Could you elaborate more on that?
You see, this is a very Western concept, this whole lockdown. The Western countries, if you want to ape and follow the Western countries, then you also ensure that what they're doing, you do it. Can you give 60-70% of salaries what UK is giving? Can you do what US is doing in the name of furlough? What stopped the government from depositing 5,000 rupees? Why only 500 rupees? Why not 5,000 rupees in those all Jan Dhan accounts and all those accounts? You didn't do it. So the government of India abdicated its constitutional responsibility as far as people of India is concerned, that you are on your own, but you have to follow my rules and my whims and desires. The state governments, they followed the diktats of the union government, which I am of the opinion the state government were free and they had all the right to say, no, we do a lockdown in our own good way. We will allow certain things to run, we will not allow certain things to not run, we will close this. But how can an IAS officer sitting in Delhi decide what is good for Hyderabad, what is not good for Hyderabad, what should not be opened, what economic activity should be done? I mean, I can understand places where people assemble, that I can assemble. What about other things? So that is why I say it was unplanned and unconstitutional.
So do you see that changing now, with given that we're in the fourth phase of the lockdown, and of course some amount of freedom has been given to states? So as far as Hyderabad and Telangana concerned, do you see that there is more authority with the government here?
No freedom has been given to the states. My Telangana.
In terms of even dividing the zones.
No. My Telangana Chief Minister, when he was asked by the media about the government of India led by Mr. Modi relaxing the FRBM limits from 2 to 5%, he said, are we beggars that you put conditions on using that FRBM limits? The government of India headed by Mr. Modi is not willing to reschedule the loans. They are not willing to give permission to states to go for ways and means advance. So these are, even they're not even willing to bring CM Relief Fund under CSR, but you have got PM CARES in it. So states have not been given any freedom. The government of India have realized after 7-8 weeks that what they did was wrong. Immense pressure was building upon them, and they were getting embarrassed, and people were getting angry and upset with them. So that is why you say that, oh, we have allowed this. What have you allowed? You see, you have destroyed the whole economic system over here. You don't support the states, and then you believe that by that 20 lakh crore economic package, I don't know what is in that. Apart from Manrega thing, nothing is there. You are telling people to go and take loans. I mean, which banks will give me loans? Please tell us. So these are unfortunate steps. Illegal, unconstitutional lockdown has happened, and now people are suffering.
Since you mentioned that, the states haven't really got as much freedom as they would have wanted, we've also seen some of it play when the domestic flights have resumed now. The states can decide what is the quarantine protocol, and we also saw what happened with the Shramik trains, as we were talking about earlier, where one reached the other destination. You also expressed your views on that, and you took to Twitter.
Well, you see, this government has, the Prime Minister has not given any direction to this country. The Prime Minister has only given a direction in terms of Thali Bajao, Diya Jalao, Light Band Karo. That's it. That he believes that is direction. What is the direction? So, the trains leaving from Gujarat land up in Karnataka. The trains leaving from Mumbai, they land up in Odisha. And then the Honorable Railway Minister says that because of huge traffic of trains, I mean, come on, the normal trains are not running. These are trains which you are taking migrant laborers to their respective homes. So there is no sense of direction, there is no sense of responsibility. And so that is why I feel that, complete mess has been done. And even those figures which have come out that because of this unplanned, unconstitutional lockdown, 12 crore people have lost their jobs. 4 crore are migrant laborers. So, I feel really ashamed and embarrassed that when migrant laborers' sufferings are told to me, I have seen with my own eyes, and I have no answer to what we can do. So it is really unfortunate that we are facing this crisis.
So talking of migrant laborers, we've also seen a sudden spurt in cases in Telangana as well, some of whom are being attributed to the increased movement between the states, whether it's the migrants or whether it's the other, passenger movement as well.
Yes, even the government, when they release their daily numbers of how many COVID positive patients are there, so there's they also mentioned migrant laborers. That is true because, many Telangana people who were migrant laborers of Telangana were stuck in Maharashtra or in Gujarat or in different places. When they're coming back, that is true. And with more activities being allowed, there is definitely going to be a spike in cases. But at the same time, economic activity must be allowed, it should have been allowed, because the government is not helping the poor people, the government is not providing food to the people, the government is not giving money to people to meet their daily needs. So that is why the people are forced to come out and take this risk of whether, as someone rightly said, that या तो कोविड मार देगा हमको या फिर भूख हमको मार देगी, गरीबी मार देगी. So they are left with no choice.
And so this particular line is being echoed in various parts of the country, not just Telangana. So coming to the state particularly, everyone's curious to know why is the state not testing enough, as has been repeatedly pointed out?
No, the consistent stand of the Chief Minister which has been reiterated by the Municipal Administration Minister, his son, is that we will do testing according to the state's requirement, and that has been their consistent stand. It is not that testing is not being done. Testing is definitely being done. There is an argument, which is also a fair comment, I agree that more testing should be done. But one thing one must appreciate, that as far as Hyderabad is concerned, there is one of the best tracing systems for COVID patients is there in Hyderabad. And the way the tracing has been done from the COVID patients to the relatives to the last person who was the primary contact of a COVID positive patient is amazing. So, and let's see what happens after the High Court, Hyderabad High Court has given the judgment that now private labs have been given permission to do testing. We'll have to wait and see. But then again, you must also understand that if private hospitals start treating, then it is going to be a huge economic cost for the poor people, because there are empirical studies that one of the cause of poverty among the poor people is that they cannot, which makes them poor is because of the huge cost of medication. So we'll have to wait and see, but right now Gandhi Hospital, King Koti Hospital and other hospitals are looking after COVID patients.
So do you think they're testing enough? I mean, of course, I understand it'll be tough for the poor, if I may say, to go to these private tests and to go to these private laboratories and afford the testing. But are the government key hospitals that are designated COVID hospitals testing enough?
Any person, any COVID patient or any people who are put in quarantine, in my constituency, the Charminar Unani Hospital has been earmarked as a quarantine center. So whoever was brought to Charminar Unani Hospital, all of them, their swab test was done, every test was done. And after reports had come who were positive, they were immediately shifted to Gandhi Hospital and to King Koti Hospital. And in that way, I've also, when people call me and tell me that, these are the symptoms which we have, I have called to the concerned responsible people in Gandhi or in other places, and they were immediately admitted. More tests should be done, but, let us see what happens after the High Court judgment.
Right. So also, since we were talking about migrants, I also want to understand what is your take on the labor laws, since that's also been something that's been grabbing headlines.
No, but that Minimum Wage Act, UP government, other BJP ruled governments just scrapping it. I mean, what is that? Don't they even read what is in there? It talks about having good ventilation, it talks about having toilets, it talks about payment of salaries. I mean, these are basic things. You just cannot scrap it. So these are totally wrong, and I oppose it. And even now, yesterday, the labor minister also reacted. He said, the BJP labor minister is saying, union minister is saying, no, we didn't envisage this kind of scrapping of labor laws. I mean, what kind of direction is there? You have a BJP-led government in Delhi, minister saying this is wrong. Then you have another BJP-led government in UP and in other Madhya Pradesh, which they have scrapped it. So these are wrong. These should be there. These are laws which are passed. Even Parliament in 16 Lok Sabha had passed, a labor law, which I don't remember immediately, but they have to be there.
So, of course, another important talking point in Hyderabad has been the Tablighi Jamaat, this thing, and also the cases linked to them. About nearly 50% of the cases here were linked, to the incident in Nizamuddin as well. Again, a lot of stigma attached to that. Of course, several statements were out there. You, of course, were quite vocal about the issue and, ensured that they were put into quarantine.
You see, as far as the Tablighi Jamaat issue is concerned, why isn't the government saying that the first 3 cases of COVID were in Kerala? What was their religion? Then Italian tourist. It then started. And why did the government allow the parliament to function? Why did they allow the parliament to function? Because the Madhya Pradesh BJP government had to be made. As far as the Tablighi Jamaat people are concerned, I can tell you that in Telangana, the names that were given to them and to me by the government was nearly more than some 680 people. And within, in 24 hours, the Tablighi Jamaat response people, they got all those people, they were quarantined, not only in Hyderabad, but also in Nizamabad and other places. And they were tested, and now all of them are back in their homes. Not only the Tablighi men, but even their families, their wives, their mothers were quarantined, and they were in quarantine for nearly 20. At that time, it was quarantine for 21 days, and they were there in quarantine. But to blame them that only because of them, that is completely wrong. That it shows a biased attitude. It shows a parochial thinking that you are blaming a religion for the spread of this disease. The disease is no religion, and then you see that in Delhi, in a famous TV channel, the whole office is now nearly 60 or odd employees are COVID positive. So we must realize that it is wrong to blame any religion. If that is the case, what was the religion of Boris Johnson then? What was the religion being followed in Wuhan, or in Spain, or in Italy? So let us not. There is time to hit and make political points or make political marks, but now is not the time.
Sure. And on that note, my last question, as you said, this is really not the time to be making, too many political notes there. So as a state, sir, how do you see things shaping up in the near future? Any more COVID relief packages this side? How do you plan to, move on from here, given that this is here to stay for a while?
You're absolutely right. I don't think so this will go away. My main worry is how will the Prime Minister react once there is a second wave or spike in cases. I am really apprehensive that the Prime Minister would come at 9 p.m. and say that lockdown. Whenever people see Prime Minister in the evening, either it's going to be demonetization or lockdown. He'll be remembered for this. So, and the second most important point is that you mark my words, once all these unplanned, unconstitutional lockdown goes away, people, when they come out and see, they'll realize that there's only destruction. Nothing is there for poor people. I'm telling you, this country needs to be reconstructed again. That is the level of economic destruction, social destruction, which has happened because of this unplanned, unconstitutional lockdown. People are not realizing it because there's still a fear of life, disease, all those things are happening. But once they come out and see, it's going to be tough for any poor people, even normal people, because no economic activity, no salaries, no state protection. How will the people of India live? And the government of Delhi is happy in issuing diktats. The minister says no one is walking, no one is dying. I don't know. Are they living in their own wonder world? Fine with that, but the reality is very different.
Well, thank you so much. And I think on that note, we, of course, can't disagree with him that perhaps tough is an understatement, and this pandemic is not going to leave us anytime soon. For more on this and for more such ground reports and interviews from Telangana, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. With Suraj Bhist, this is Anisha Bedi for The Print. Thanks for watching.